Hello YouTube. Today we are going to be doing a video.
Hello, beautiful souls. Thank you for being here. I am super, super, super excited to finally have Ty, my partner, in a full video with me. He and I want to we want to make an announcement today about a series we're going to start.
Hello YouTube, this is Ty. I have a channel called Ty Talks that I'm starting, and me and Trina are going to be starting a series on both channels that's going to be discussing the negative energies and
Parasitic.
parasitic energies in our society today, and the parasitic structures that have been implemented for thousands of years and how they are prevalent today.
Yes.
And we have a bunch of topics that we're going to be going over.
So today, our initial video, this is us making a call, actually making an announcement to let you guys know that we are starting this series because we figured that this is such a large topic that, we don't really want to condense it down and water it down into one video. There are so many things that we have experienced, and we realize that we were put in these situations so that we could speak up and speak out against this injustice to bring forth light to these shadows, to the darkness, to all this parasitic structure, infrastructure, parasitic ways of being, which is in the old paradigm. So to avoid rinsing it down or watering it down, we were like, actually, it was Ty. It was Ty's idea. He said, no, we can't do this in one video. We need to make a series, and let's be very serious about this.
Not only will this ties into everything, the parasitic structure and everything, but people who are delusional, people who have serious mental problems, people who are sociopaths, people who don't want to take responsibility for their actions. And over the past year, we have been in these situations where people would lie, manipulate, make us think they were our friends and they were on our side, but really they were just out to get us and get something out of us, largely money. People nowadays are way too concerned about just monetary value and
their self.
physically profiting. And not only that, but people who don't want to do their jobs and people who need these people to do their jobs are suffering, and we have suffered over the past year just simply because people didn't want to do their jobs, they didn't want to communicate, they didn't want to take responsibility for their own actions or lack thereof.
Yeah, it's like we just really noticed that in our society now, there's just a lot of people who aren't even taking any pride in what they do, or not really taking into consideration who it is or what they are working for. These people really just are lazy, out of it, kind of zombified, or you have some people who just don't really go further than the surface and have consciousness, mindfulness of really either who they're working for, like the business or the business structure, corporate.
And it does have a lot to do with corporations and the
Yeah.
corporate structure and how many people. She told me earlier today a statistic about how the majority of businessmen are sociopaths and they don't care about any of their employees. They only care about monetary gain, and they're taking all the money that the workers and people under them should be getting, and they're keeping the majority of it for themselves. And they have way more than enough money to meet their own needs and more. Like the average common wage nowadays is like $11 an hour. People should be making way more than $11 an hour.
Yeah.
So basically people are having to work for way lower wages simply because some rich guy can have a new yacht tomorrow instead of another day after tomorrow or something ridiculous like that. And it's gotten to the point where it's like these people don't need this money they're getting, and it's like they don't even want it. They want it just so they can have it. They want it just because of pure greed, and I'm bigger than you, and I want what you can't have. And that's why our economy is suffering because we don't want to share any of the wealth with anyone else. Everyone is out to for themselves and out to get everyone else. And anybody who suffers because they don't want to do their job or they don't want to do what's right, they don't care about that. And that's not right. And we shouldn't have to suffer, especially when you're in a position and you have a job and your job title is to, let's say you're a manager and your job is to manage people. And if you don't do a good job at that and your company starts suffering and you want to blame all these other people and just fire people or blame everyone else but yourself, but it's your job. You have to take responsibility for your actions. And in the long run, you're only going to end up hurting yourself.
Yeah. And beyond even just like his example of managers, we've noticed this behavior even in government jobs, like public assistance jobs, um, just all kinds of businesses where we're noticing people who have some kind of authority, they're not taking their job serious. And
Hmm.
so their actions or lack thereof is affecting, it's affected us, it's affected so many people, not just us. And it's gotten to the point where we're like, whoa, yo, like no more, this is it. Like we had a situation happen today and I was like, this is it, no more. I'm speaking up, we're speaking up about this. And
Yeah,
we kind of knew we were going to do this, we just didn't know when it would happen. But it
yeah.
kind of like
So we've got
cherry on top today.
literally a whole 3 pages of papers of examples and stories over the past few years that we're going to go over, and we're literally going to expose all these people and all these different instances where people have not taken responsibility for their actions and have tried to use us and project their issues onto us and make it seem like
Big time.
we were the ones trying to scam them when obviously it's the other way around.
It's really projection where I'm sure fellow light workers, fellow star seeds, that we're here for a mission. We're here to do some serious work in this huge transition that's happening on the planet. So it's like you see how we get seeded into environments and into situations where we are the bearer of light. We are the beacon of light. And so when we bring that light into darkness, right, into a place where darkness is, and there's actions and a vibration of low vibration where darkness is ruling, of course, those around you whose actions are not of higher consciousness, they want to project onto the light bearer, the one who is bringing forth the light. And this is what we have seen in many cases. I mean, even before I met him, it was happening with me. And then when we, as a
And
couple
even
together,
just to
we've been noticing
simplify
it,
that for you, people just can't handle the truth.
right? That like it's so when a person can't handle the truth, what
When
do we
you're an
know? They go
honest
into
person
denial.
and you will speak the truth and you're not scared to speak the truth, people are scared of that. And these people who think they can manipulate and walk all over you will know that. And so when they can no longer affect your perception of them, they will try to make other people affected by their perception of you. So they'll lie and try to talk behind your back and get people to believe whatever false perception they want, which is really just a reflection of how they feel on the inside about themselves. And it's really not fair. And we have a structure, and there's a culture today of people who do this, and they do this on a daily basis, and they're literally profiting and getting rich off it, and that's fucking bullshit.
Basically, I agree. We're literally in this day and age, what's going on within the old paradigm, right? With these people of lower consciousness. We're noticing there is a lack of compassion. There's no compassion. There's injustice. Okay, it's like there's no sense of keeping your word. It seems like our word doesn't mean anything. Like if somebody says they'll do something
Especially in
or
business, there's supposed to be a certain level of, it's called business ethics,
integrity. Yeah.
integrity.
Well, that too, yeah.
ethics.
Yeah, ethics for sure.
That's why we have the Better Business Bureau to protect people from lewd business practices. And you'll see even nowadays, just for an example, our friend who worked at Huddle House, her manager was literally changing her hours and her tips and making her claim way more tips than she would actually make. And this is illegal. You're not allowed to touch other people's tips. And this is a common thing, especially if you're a server and you've ever worked in the public service field, or you worked as a waiter or a server of some kind or a bartender, because you have an income that's largely untraceable by the government and untaxable. A lot of the times, managers will shorten hours or claim tips or change things so that the business isn't losing enough money, when that's complete bullshit. You shouldn't be able to just destroy someone's livelihood over your own selfishness. And the thing is, they aren't even really profiting anything out of this. It's just pure selfishness and greed, and the business is going to make it no matter what. A lot of these big corporations, they're going to make it no matter what you do. And to say otherwise is just a complete lie. They have, if you are part of a big corporation, they have so many things in place that will prevent them from losing any amount of profits. So for them to try to act like they're the victim when they're the ones with all the money and we're having to struggle and scrape and survive and just barely make do with what we have for these poor wages and these lying sociopathic bosses and these managers who don't want to take responsibility, who can't do their job properly, who can't manage employees properly, for them to have these practices and we have to suffer for it, that's complete fucking bullshit. And I know you've been in a job that you didn't like and you had to deal with people that you didn't want to deal with just to get by because of the way our entire government and entire system is set up. They want to act like, oh, we don't have any money for anyone. And if you go to other countries in Europe, or even if you go up north to Canada, they have free health care. Everyone's nice to each other. They don't have a bunch of militaristic police force that'll pull you out of the vehicle and just beat you up and shoot you for no reason and get away with it. This doesn't happen in other countries, and I think a lot of people would be surprised if they would just open their eyes and actually see and go live and research things on their own. For example, I have a friend in Norway who doesn't have to work at all, and he gets a free apartment, basically food service, and a check for however many hundreds of kroners, Norwegian dollars a month, and their money is worth more than our money. So, and this is a common thing in a lot of European countries.
Right, yeah. Because in Germany, I almost went over there. A German friend, well, actually a refugee from Nigeria, he was there, and he told me, because I was born in Germany, so he was trying to help me see if I still had citizenship there. And
What?
I don't know, because we're on camera and you're burping, it just makes me laugh. So, anyways, so he's a Nigerian refugee, and he was trying to help me figure out if I still had citizenship there because he was saying if I could go over there, then he was like, "You're a single woman, you can have an apartment, you can have, you can go and receive some higher, even more higher education because I already had my BA from here." But he was telling me all these amazing perks, how basically they just have way more support there for their citizens. And
Hmm.
it's like, why do we not
And that's
have that
another thing.
here?
It's like no one here has any compassion, and we want to talk about how we're such a great country and we have so much more money, and we're a capitalist society.
And really the American dream, where I mean,
Hmm.
they,
Hmm.
I mean, it's supposed to, I mean, people do come here because they want to escape from some very life-threatening situations in
Yep.
other countries. I know many of you might hear what we're saying and come back and go, well, maybe it's just your vibration and who, you're just getting what you are reflecting and this and that. And let me tell you, I've been there and I've already thought of that. Okay. And we all know, yes, the universal laws and our vibration, but using the universal laws and spiritual truths to ignore what is going on and the fact that there is a parasitic structure in place on the planet is complete bullshit. Like, we really, as us, as the way showers, as the light bringers, as the warriors of light, we have to start using our voice, standing up for the truth, you know, to bring about a movement to stand up and say, we see what's going on here. We see the sickness in our country and around the world, okay? And we're not going to take it anymore. And it's crazy because after a certain thing that happened this morning, we were like, that's it, no more. And I started telling him, I was like, dude, I have done research, about psychopaths and sociopathic behavior. And you know what? Everything that we're describing that we've been through with all these people and business owners and organizations, like, that's the same exact behavior of a sociopath.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this old paradigm is ripe with
Right.
parasitic
People just
energy. And it's like spirit confirmed that, dude. Like, I was sitting here getting so angry today. I'm not kidding. I got so angry today and fed up because of something we had to deal with this morning. And when I said all this, after that, I went to watch Marianne Williamson's live stream. I wanted to do it last night, but obviously that wasn't meant to be. The universe wanted me to see it today after I said what I said to him, because she got on there and in her speech, she said the very same thing that he and I said to each other this morning, and it confirmed it. Spirit was just like, look, exactly. And this is why, I mean, we could tell you, like, our guides, they've been pushing us really hard to speak on this. This is something we knew we were going to eventually have to talk on. So I'm so grateful to have heard her speak this morning. Um, and we will provide that link. And I mean, I'm excited.
mm-hmm.
If you don't know who Marianne Williamson is, we'll provide links below. Okay, she's well known all over the world for her work in A Course in Miracles, for healing. She's a spiritual teacher, a counselor, all of this stuff. Okay, and she announced last night she is running for president in 2020, and I could not be more fucking excited. I'm like, and everything she was saying was confirming everything that we've been experiencing and wanting to expose. So I mean, this is a movement, and this is our
and
time.
Trina says don't say this, but
What?
and I'm fairly certain that she has no chance in hell. But that's because our system
Well,
is rigged
we don't
against.
know that. That's the whole point.
Our whole system is rigged against people who actually want to change anything. So
Calm down, Wolfie.
Calm down, bud.
He's like, I gotta say in this. He does that sometimes in my video.
Lay down.
Oh, look, he wants you to rub his belly.
Oh, I'm rubbing his belly with my feet. Yeah, we have a system in place. Just like I watched a video about Burnham the other day, giving advice to the kids. He said, "Give up. The system's rigged against you," and it's funny, but it's true, because just because you want to do something and you go about it the right way, and you could put all the work forth to do that, but if the system isn't working, the system just isn't working, and we have to be the ones who go out and protest and make the change ourselves as individuals. We need to stop trying to have this cult-like worship of religious figures, and or not religious, political figures, religious figures too. It all ties into the same thing. And cult-like worship of political figures and trying to uh, basically be on one side or the other. That's what the two-party system does. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't bring forth any solutions. All we do is argue amongst each other about our problems, and people vote based on a party, and you're basically just picking a party based on a few issues. Our camera cut out. So yeah, people just pick parties based on a few issues that they want to get resolved, even though the other party might have policy that you believe in. So there's really no solution to be had. It's made to divide us and keep us arguing amongst each other, so that we don't actually take advantage and take the power ourselves to do what we know we need to do, and stop relying on political figures and stop relying on political parties and trying to argue with each other amongst it. We need to come together and reach compromises and reach solutions. We don't need to be having this two-party system.
Well, also, it's also, what's the word?
Cuts me off and doesn't even have anything to say.
Well, I had the word. It's ineffective and rigged also because these political leaders are being paid by corporations. They're being paid by lobbyists to speak on and push things through. Okay, so we don't need puppets, and that's one of our major problems. That these political figures are puppets,
Everybody
not
is
the
in
real
someone else's
guys.
pocket. Everybody's manipulating someone else. Everybody has an agenda for someone else.
We need someone who really We need people, real leaders who really are going to stand up and speak, have the voice for the people. And Marianne Williamson was talking about that in her live stream.
Yeah.
I seriously really hope you go listen. It's so good.
Educating and inspiring individuals is the only way there's ever going to be a change. People sitting back and relying on a president or any kind of political figure or political party to change things for them, it's just not going to do anything. And my friend Richard is so anal about voting. And I agree, voting is a good concept and it works in a perfect world, but a lot of the times your votes don't matter. And that's just the honest truth. Your votes don't matter. They are being sent to an electoral college, or they're basically a suggestion for a political figure to do what they will with them. And that's the kind of democracy we live in right now. And I'm not saying a complete democracy would be better, but I'm just saying we need to get together as a country, as a people, as a world as a whole, and figure this stuff out and stop trying to fight amongst each other. I remember George Washington, I think, said, or was one of the founding fathers that said the two-party system will be the end of this country, and we are seeing it pass today. They knew it was going to happen 300 years ago, and everything that they said is coming to pass. What can we do today to stop this? We all need to come together and unite as a people and
Educate ourselves and educate our youth on true history.
Educate, inspire, and change.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, just like she was talking about earlier, but you kept rambling.
I didn't ramble.
Anybody who is in positions of power nowadays, they feel like they have to do less work as opposed to more work, which it should be the opposite. You have a responsibility as a leader, as a manager, as an artist, as a professional of any kind, to do your job and do your job well. And the higher up you get in your job, you shouldn't be doing less work. Now I know there's going to be positions where you have to do less physical labor and more mental labor. Not what I'm talking about. You need to be responsible for your actions, and you need to do your job correctly, and you need to stop blaming other people for all of your mishaps. The problem is people don't take pride in their work anymore. They want to take pride in themselves, but they don't have any reason to take pride in themselves. So anytime someone comes to them with a problem about what they should be doing right or what they're doing wrong, they simply deflect it back onto the other person, and they try to make that person's issues, their issues, the other person's issues. And really they need to take a moment, let go of their ego, look inside themselves, and be honest and accept responsibility. Because the only way you're ever going to change anything, and the only way you're ever going to better yourself, is if you accept responsibility. Denying responsibility for your actions is the only thing that's going to keep you from bettering yourself, and it's going to take you're going to take all the control you have out of that situation by denying any acceptance of the situation. And that's what we're going to be doing in this video series. We're going to be starting in chronological order over all of our experiences over the past 3 years. And I think we should start our first video on family abuse and trauma, because that's really chronologically where all this stuff starts, and where these sociopaths and psychopaths, people who really need mental help deep down and have been damaged and basically trained to do these things by a circumstance of their environment.
And the parenting or lack of parenting.
Yeah, this is where it all begins. So that's where our series should begin. So the next video, it's going to be about trauma, and I think we're going to be uploading this first video on both of our channels, but there's going to be individual videos that's going to be on an individual channel, because Trina might have expertise or more knowledge or more experience, or have had an experience about a certain topic more than I have. But so we're going to be
vice versa.
And vice versa.
Like he said, some videos may be uploaded on his or some of mine, but since it's a series, we will create a playlist. So that playlist will be on both of our channels. So you'll have access to the playlist on either channel. Trying to think of them. I did want to hold on. I did want to touch on what you said about you think she has no chance in hell. Like, I don't know, but the thing is that with the whole point of having a movement, having a revolution, which I just quickly looked on her page and she's calling it join the evolution. Okay, so if there is a radical change, we can somehow bring about some kind of change. We can't be pessimistic and say she doesn't have a chance. We don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, look at what took place in the 60s and 70s. All of these great leaders. Ty, why are you saying no?
The system's rigged against her. She can make a change, but she's not gonna be president.
She's gonna be the leader of the new system. Okay, so in the current, what I wanted to touch on with him is that, yes, in the current parasitic structure, I have no idea if she would be elected. He still thinks no. Okay.
I still think Bernie Sanders would have been president if we had any voting power.
Exactly. Bernie Sanders, there's so many others. There oh my God, it literally escapes my mind. The Green Party candidate that I worked for a little bit in Philadelphia. So any of these people, but if you have actually worked like during an election or for a campaign, you'll see how ridiculous it is. If you are not a Democrat or a Republican, you have to literally go out on canvas and get a certain amount of signatures, and I can't remember the number, escapes me, and I'll try and look it up. It's more than 1,000. It's crazy. It's like a certain number of signatures just for you to even get on the damn ballot. It's already rigged against those who don't want to claim a one party or the other. We have brilliant individuals who don't want to categorize themselves, just smack a label and say, well, I'm going to align with this group and their beliefs. It's not just black and white.
That's the problem. Everyone wants to be in a bandwagon. Everyone wants to be a follower, and no one wants to stand up and be a leader. And we need to be a generation of people who will stand up and be leaders and stop being a follower and stop being scared and to make a change and complain about how nothing is going to change. You have to make the change yourself.
Right. And so and it's true. And Marianne Williamson touched on that too, saying, this is it. We can't stop. We can't keep complaining and then not doing anything. And I know I will personally say, yes, I got so fucking jaded after the Obama elections. Yes, I was pumped for him and everything, but after that, when a bunch of stuff happened, I was like, I am never fucking voting again. And I was like, this is the Matrix, and I don't want to be a part of it. But as stuff has gone on over the years, like I'm coming to even a different awakening of, I have to. We are plugged into the system, just like Neo. You pull out, go back in, because we are here to bust the Matrix. We are here to bring forth the light to this darkness, to this parasitic structure.
Speak the truth.
Yeah, so it's like and you know it, man, if you've read Brinkers of the Dawn, if you listen to any channelings, anything like that, especially the Pleiadians, they speak on how these incarnations coming in now especially since the 80s, the star seeds, we are here. We are here for a reason. We are here to bring some massive change to the planet for the shift in consciousness. So if this is a shift in consciousness about healing, it's going to permeate out into everything else and change our society, the structure that we're in. So yes, I get it. And Marianne Williamson may not have a chance in the parasitic structure, the old paradigm. But what we want to bring to you and say is it's time to create the new. And some of you may be like, well, there are some communities here or there. And I'm saying, great, fantastic. How can we make more? How can we make this a larger collective thing where we're not so isolated from one another? How can we really create this new structure? How can we really anchor in this new structure, the new earth that we've talked about, that's been prophesied? How can we do this? And we need to start talking about it. We need to start getting together and bringing our minds together and our talents together. So, I hope we're going to touch on that too. Oh, looks like we got a visitor coming. Oh, he's like, I want to be in it. Come here, Wolf.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Say hi, guys, Wolfie.
Say hi.
And we will see you guys in the next video where we're actually going to start the series.
Yes.
Peace.
So, as always, may the light continue to guide you. May the divine guide you. Namaste. Mitakwe Oyasin. Aroha Nui. Be blessed.